Carmela troopers say they will be on the scene for several more hours as they try to figure out what happened here in Wildflower Village in Exeter. As you can see, police have finally entered the home. They just received a search warrant.
And Newswatch 16's Cassie Semyon is there. Cassie.
Well, as you can tell, Scott, the room is still buzzing with that victory news of Chris Shermack and Mike Giannetta. I'm going to put it to the test. I'm going to log on to Amazon.com and try and buy a vape pen without proving my age. And all you need is an Amazon account, a valid form of payment, add it to your cart, place your order, and it was just that easy.
We're about to head 8,000 feet up above Pocono Raceway as the Golden Knights make their jump into the air show. We're going to see it all firsthand right from the flight deck.
Good evening, Charlotte. The downtown Scranton and Wilkes-Barre Bike Project is underway in the early stages, gathering information about what is necessary to keep bikers and pedestrians safe in both cities. Those we spoke with said they're excited about the project and that it's a necessary one. One of the most popular traditions at the Tomato Festival is the big tomato fight. And one bride is taking her wedding dress, taking some goggles, and getting out some aggression today. For over a decade, just one Scranton hospital was delivering babies, but in just a few short months, another will open its new maternity ward.
A man is locked up after making threats against 2 Hazleton area schools over the weekend. Newswatch 16's Cassie Semyon joins us live from Hazleton Area High School with the latest. Cassie?
Stacey city officials say they were working around the clock Saturday to make an arrest before school started again on Monday. Police say as soon as they became aware of the threat, it was instantly the top priority. It all started with a text message, what authorities called a manifesto, threatening a shooting and the use of pipe bombs at 2 Hazleton area schools. Jeff Cassatt is the mayor of Hazleton.
I received a text message from a citizen of Hazleton that his daughter had received an alarming text message. He forwarded me a copy of it. I read it, and I immediately contacted the chief.
And within minutes, Hazleton police were on the move, searching the streets and even filing for electronic search warrants that helped police locate the suspect.
We're able to specifically pinpoint where the individual was, and at 9:15, we were able to pinpoint that individual right to 6th Street and Church. At that point, the units converged on the individual.
Police say Christian Deal made threats against 2 Hazleton area schools, with threats to use bombs at the Arthur Street Elementary School as a diversion to carry out a mass shooting at the high school. Deal later said the threat was a joke, one Hazleton police did not take lightly.
I think someone that jokes about hurting children with what we've seen in our nation with mass shootings, that's a poor joke. And I think that's somebody that needs to be evaluated.
Police used phone surveillance and street patrols to search for Deal, who they were able to apprehend shortly after 9 p.m. He's now facing charges for threatening to use a weapon of mass destruction. While community members we spoke with say they are thankful for the quick action of police, they also want to thank that tipster who notified police of the threat.
I was thankful to whoever that concerned citizen is for doing what they did, because if they didn't, it might have happened.
Whoever tipped them off, we owe them a ton of gratitude and thanks for sharing that information, which is always so important, that if you hear something, say something.
But the overall concern, the safety of the students.
There's no quality of life if our homes and our schools and our neighborhoods are left unprotected. That's just the bottom line. And as far as I'm concerned, we're going to make sure that we protect them, and we're going to make sure that we do it the right way.
School will be in session as normal here at Hazleton area tomorrow. Deal is locked up in Luzerne County Prison tonight. Cassie Semyon, Newswatch 16, live in Hazleton. The inaugural Great Pocono Raceway Air Show blasted off this weekend, with many putting their eyes to the skies. But few know the feeling of parachuting out of a plane. For the U.S. Army Golden Knights, it's just another day on the job, and this time they invited us to come along.
Anytime you jump out of a plane, it feels like flying, but the amount of teamwork that goes into a jump like this, the amount of preparation that we do, you could see us out here, we've been setting up the plane for over an hour here just this morning. So a lot goes behind the scenes into just one jump.
And after the plane has been inspected, the jumpsuits checked, and the parachutes packed, the Golden Knights practice a dirt dive or a ground run through formations before the jump.
We got to really focus on what needs to get done. We got to focus on what exact position we need to be in, what job we need to perform up in the sky to ensure that the crowd on the ground gets the best possible shows.
And while the Golden Knights make sure to put on a good performance, they are also focused on spreading awareness about the Army.
Here in this job, we get to get out there and interact with the crowd, let them know what the Army is like, let them know what the Army has to offer, and show them honestly that Army soldiers are not like they see in Hollywood. They're not robots, they're human beings, and that's the best part for me.
We're about to head 8,000 feet up above Pocono Raceway as the Golden Knights make their jump into the air show. We're going to see it all firsthand right from the flight deck.
After taking off from the Scranton-Wilkes-Barre International Airport, we fly nearly 40 miles southeast to the Tricky Triangle. Streamers are tossed to mark the target, and we make a few laps before the first parachuter, Specialist Skylar Romberg, steps out and into the open air. Soon others follow, making the 8,000-foot descent into Pocono Raceway in around 2 minutes. Below, the crowd cheering as they parachute in.
That was amazing. That really takes some guts to just be free falling from the sky like that.
Stephanie Bradford came to her first air show with her mother and daughter, and they were both impressed with the Golden Knights' performance.
I can't imagine doing anything like that ever in my life, ever, even when I was a teenager. It was amazing. It was just amazing.
And as impressive as it was below, it was even more so from the top. Cassie, Semyon, Newswatch 16, from the skies over Pocono Raceway, Monroe County.
Passengers say they feared for their lives. Newswatch 16's Cassie Semyon has been following this story, and she spoke with more passengers today about their ordeal. And Cassie joins us live from the Lackawanna Transit Center with more. Cassie?
Charlotte, I spoke to numerous passengers both on the phone and through social media today, and they say that trip to New York was a terrifying experience, and some of them were concerned that they wouldn't make it to their destination.
It was terrorizing. Everybody felt that we were held hostage. Nobody knew what was going to happen.
Fred Lettieri and his wife were on a bus to New York City Saturday when he says the driver began to scare passengers, even threatening to cancel the trip over people talking. Lettieri is a former WNEP reporter now working in our sales department.
Every time she could hear voices in her front seat, she would basically stop the bus, pull over, ask the people's names who were talking, and threaten to kick them off the bus.
Video from inside that bus shows the driver reprimanding passengers multiple times for talking, including pulling over at unscheduled stops. When the passengers confronted her once they got to New York, this was how she responded. Now Martz is apologizing, posting a letter to Facebook that the behavior of the driver is being addressed, and they apologized for what happened on that bus. But this isn't the first time a passenger has complained about a similar incident. Leah Zillow was traveling from New York to visit her in-laws in Lackawanna County Friday. She says the same driver threatened them to keep quiet.
People aren't quiet. She's going to pull over and leave you on the side of the road, and she would call the police and have people arrested.
Zilla says her seatmate asked why they couldn't talk and were told it was on the website. We could not find that on their site.
My seatmates and I, we started using the notes feature on our iPhones and communicating back and forth. Because as we were going, if anybody, like people got on their own phones and were, watching videos or whatever, and if people started giggling, she would start screaming, "I told you to be quiet."
Martz says in its apology that, quote, the unprofessional actions of our driver never should have occurred. The necessary actions to address this behavior will take place. And now MARTS did not detail what that action would be, but they did say they will be working with drivers on respectfully communicating with its passengers. And MARTS said they will be refunding tickets for that trip. Cassie, Semyon, Newswatch 16, live in Scranton tonight.